Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to this 31st session of Ergonomics for Beginners Industrial Design Perspective. So, the current module is module number 8. That is, in this we have total 4 sessions, and with that 4 sessions, the class number 31st is today's Ergonomics Design Methodology. Class 32 ergonomics criteria and check while designing. Class number 33 design process involving ergonomics check, and class number 34 some checklists for task easiness and design applications. So, today's session is a class 31st ergonomics design methodology, some relevant issues. Now, if we see some aspects of human factors in design, while speaking this, the first thing comes that the nature and man-made world, the interrelation between these two. Design has come from art and design. So, we can say that a design is a perfect blend of aesthetic perception and functionality. Now, this aesthetic perception and functionality, it depends on the human nature. The human perception to look into natural resources to use for his own benefit, and for that a word comes in our mind, that is sustainability. The sustainability, in one sense it can be said that borrowing from future for present use. Sustainable development, in another sense it can be said that when an egg, a force is applied from outside, the egg breaks, it kills a life. When that force, that energy comes from inside, the egg breaks, but it gives a life. So, the sustainability would be in such a way that the development should not be given to the users. The development process should involve the users itself, so that they can give the proper feedback about what the necessity and how they can continue its usage. Now, we can say that when we see something either in nature or a man-made world, the appreciation depends on ambience and mood, where we are going to use the things and what is the interrelation between them. This figure says that in this context, some specific thought comes in our mind that is not possible to think in this figure, in this ambience. Again, in this figure, whatever we see, that some people are fishing with boat. The design requirement, etc., whatever we think after seeing this figure, the design thought comes, it has to be related to this figure. So, means whatever we perceive according to the ambience, it gets into that. Now, in this case, that tea garden case, here after seeing this figure, a totally different type of atmosphere or the need of or any design cannot come in our mind. So, while seeing this figure, our mind goes into that and we can think of something that is related to this field. So, it is said that ambience depends, so appreciation of some appearance, it depends on the ambience and it creates mood accordingly. Now, in this figure, in this mustard field, the similar type of atmosphere is being created. Now, here in this picture it is said that background and highlight. In this jungle background, the highlight of this portion, it becomes lively. So, with this some specific identity of an area, of an environment, it gives a clue how to use it in design, so that it can be that environment friendly or it can represent that environment. In this figure, we can say that after studying the whole atmosphere, an identified portion of that may lead the need, that need means it can be represented in a design item. So, that an identity can be created. This is, after seeing this, it is said that it is not usable, but it is, these products are not for daily use. You see, these products are for just to appreciate. So, the some product may be categorized that whether it is only for appreciation or for utility value, or it has the both. If both is there, then it would be successful to have to create an ambience, mood, use value, as well as people will like to possess those things. Now, from this figure, it says a lot of things. Now, in this case, need is different. Now, this need we can say from the organization point of view, the environment beautification as a whole, the overall organization of these things, maybe the tourism and etc. The route of this boating over this water body, information signage etc., and then the resting locations, and then shops and etc. So, many the whole area is that under the organizational point of view. But from the end users point of view, here end users are, these are the end users. In this figure it says. So, now from the end users point of view, need is different. Like the owner of this boat, his need is different. How many people, as many as people he can accommodate in this boat. So, the boat, while designing this boat, this will be his requirement, need. But whereas the passengers, the users, other users need is different, their comfort, safety, etc. Among these users group also different, those who are already using it and those who are about to use that facility. So, their thoughts are also different. The same tourist group, but need or that at that moment the thought are different with the same boat design respect. So, the context specific design application is necessary. The appreciation depends on the perception, emotion, satisfaction and possessiveness, that feeling. Now, a perception of appreciation, if we want to see. Now, this is a figure, lake surrounded by some hilly area, it looks very nice. So, aesthetic and pleasant this figure, but to be seen and enjoyed from a distance. Then only as a whole the view gives an appreciable appearance, but not for personal possession. Overall appearance to be appreciated. Now, if we see from different angle, when in the same figure a building is there and a road is surrounding this lake, a road. Here you are supposed to see this building for your stay and the road while walking or driving. The total perception changes. Presence of road surrounding the lake and the building tells us the functionality aspect of this picture. When we walk or drive, the road condition, visibility, etc., spots the beauty. Individual utility overpowers generosity as a whole. So, the perception of use, utility value and aesthetics, we not only feel product through physical senses, but filter through mind also, in what state of mind we are. In an angry mood, if something very soft or something is presented to him, it may not be accepted at that point. A good product should satisfy a set of human factors, and many of them are utility oriented and pleasure for possession. When we see an object, we judge how it is trustworthy to use or to reject it. The design should be need based and context specific. As an example, it can be said that a thirsty man does not feel comfortable with an elegant picture of lake or a fountain or a modern design of a water purifier alone. He needs a glass of water to drink, but as value addition can be used this as image to the product of desire. Identification of need and value addition would be the product innovation and development strategy. This figure, it talks a lot about the owner. After seeing this figure, the person can feel from where it is taken, who can use this, where it is, what state of people they are, so many things come. So, pictorial presentation, it gives a lot through a single image. So, to identify certain things like this, it would be necessary and can be presented in design. Design is normally created out of local needs and thus carries an identity. In this population group, design for the people ergonomics compatibility factors, for this the local needs and identity is one of the factors that requires to be satisfied. Individuals labeling of themselves as members of particular groups and their design of various utility items carries their own identity. Design innovations take traditional elements and modern technological advantages to meet contextual need or to satisfy intended users. Use of color, lines, surface texture, form, shapes, etc. design elements creates moods as well as functional utility items identity. Create moods and functional identity. Now, when talking about design identity, the design identity consists of 4 visual components and application of appropriate technology. The 4 components and technology, it can be said that ICMFT equal to design identity, where I is image, C is color, single color or shades or multicolors, motifs and form, F is the form and T is technology. So, based and the identity of a design of a region or a particular place depends on the specific emphasis of these elements. So, thus an identity of a product comes from its origin point of view also. Now, the perception management where ergonomics design becomes a handy market overlay is how far ergonomics, that is a question comes. Now, much of the human experience each day relies on items that were made to extend human abilities and to overcome human limits. The sum of all the products, services, environments and systems that humans have produced comprises the operational environment. The inner environment of the individual is separate and apart from the rest of the physical existence that comprises the outside environment. The artificial operational environment is centered precisely on this interface between the inner and outer environments. It is concerned with attaining goals by adapting the former to the latter. Artificial intelligence software is able to govern themselves in limited ways. Ergonomics provide product to sell, that is business with humane ethics. An understanding of the basics of human behavior and physiology in the context development of ways to recognize, approach, analyze and solve problems, including methods for observation as well as simple experimentation. a means to determine why one solution is better than another. Cost effectiveness. Cost effectiveness is included to enable to prioritize solutions, alternatives according to their apparent value. A process for effective communicating development, team interactions, activities and results are necessary. Now, ergonomics carries responsibility for designing for human use. Now, how this goal can be achieved? So, few aspects we may need to consider. This goal is reached by development of measuring protocols and experiments to study the interaction between man, product and surroundings, interpretation of biomechanical and physiological parameters in relation to load, performance, health, safety and comfort. Understanding of background mechanism causing health damage and performance involvement and improvement. Specification of directives for product design based on product research, that is what is necessary and how it can be achieved. Ergonomics achieve, there will be two different type of approaches, like for the producers and supplier point of view and these are users point of view. Now, for the producer and supplier point of view, the added value of product ergonomics is the higher quality products, first time right product development, that strategy, time to market reduction means as soon as the idea comes, make it, put it in market and the satisfied customers, the feedback. For the users of the products experience, fewer injuries while using those products or their design, injuries in terms of psychophysical, better performance means reliability, trust etc. and more comfort and while using. Now, comfort is an absolute word. So, why we require to call it more comfort? Because when we grade some products comfortability, apparently it seems all are comfortable. Then somewhere if we want to give more, now better thing than one product, in that case we can say more comfort, but comfort itself is an absolute term. Now, application areas of this ergonomics, design ergonomics, that in product research, material and product properties, users research in the lab and on location where it will be used actually, in that context whether it fits, design and testing of new prototypes, it is required, these application areas. And while making this testing, take feedback appropriate and those feedbacks if are met in the new developments, then obviously it will be well accepted. Now, some terms we always talk about when we take some design assignments. Now, ergonomics provides product success through the functional aspects of the product, that is, to be functional within human limitations and safe, comfortable to do intended function of that product. The legal aspects: inattention of hazards that can cause the loss of property, health or life is actionable in a court of law. The ethical: the development professionals strive to create products that enhance rather than impede human endeavor. Ergonomics provide product to sell, that is business with human ethics and understanding of the basics of human behavior and physiology in the context of development of ways to recognize, approach, analyze and solve problems, including methods for observation as well as simple experimentations. This slide we have just few minutes back we have discussed this. In summary, you can say again, a means to determine why one solution is better than another. Cost effectiveness is included to enable to prioritize solutions alternatives according to their apparent value. A process of for effective communicating development team interactions, activities and results. Requirements are established in order to assure that a product will perform a certain, usually minimum standards. Understanding which requirements apply to a project and how to comply with them are an essential part of research and development. Requirements are characteristics that are necessary or essential and set the stage for the creation of a product. Now, about the requirements which is necessary or essential, under that a variety of requirements are used in order to define the nature of development work, and those are standards, regulations, guidelines, specifications, goals, objectives, criteria, needs and wants. Now, what does those actually mean? Now, you can say that about the standards, the quantifiable performance levels for system elements that can be established and measured as for example, speed, accuracy etc., to protect the natural environment and consumers, to improve the ability of firms and nations around the world to develop and sell and use products that are compatible with each other. Codes are essentially the same as standards. Now, as the regulations are the standards that have been sanctioned through legislation to have the force of law. This step is taken in order to protect human life, safety and health that the whole nation must comply. So, design attempts should consider all these issues. Now, the guidelines. While designing, some guidelines are to be followed. What are those guidelines? The procedures developed with a firm in order to ensure continuity of critical aspects, as for example, the performance among divisions, departments and products. For example, product from each division of a large corporation such as IBM should look and perform like IBM products. how IBM products are to perform can be communicated by company guidelines. Procedures manuals can also serve as guidelines, are also used to spread knowledge throughout the organization and are encouraged to follow. The specifications, it means the requirements that are written for a specific system, abbreviations like specs. Design 2 specifications state the capabilities and the performance of a system in order to solve a customer or operational problem. Build 2 specifications give the details that are necessary for implementation. The best practice. The best practice norms of professional conduct that are considered to be acceptable among those who lead the field. Each professional group develops its own standards of practice. In some professions, best practices form the basis for licensures such as a medicine and law. In other areas of professional practice such as human factors, they form the basis for certification. Ergonomics and human factors organizations and their technical and professional groups develop their own best practices and research, and accordingly they use in their designs. The goals, desirable end states, objectives, accepts aspects of the goal that can be quantified, the criteria, the ways in which goals are to be met, needs, necessities that which one must have in the design, wants, that which is desired, but not necessarily needed. These are the wants. So, if these issues are considered while conceptualizing a design idea of a product or a space or a utility item, then it will be accepted by the end users as well as the society as a whole, and the profit will also be there. So, the context specific human information requires to be considered for design to fulfill a perceived need based on some real life experiences that have led to certain ergonomics criteria, and these ergonomics criteria based on some real life experiences. In next session we are going to discuss this in details, and following other rest of the classes there we will discuss this with some examples. So, next session, the class number 32, ergonomics criteria and check while designing, we are going to discuss in that session. So, till then, thank you very much. Wish to meet you next day.